You know what DJI do really bloody well? Drones. And every drone has a camera on it. So we know they do camera technology well. But GoPro dominate the portable action camera market. And for good reason. They do these bloody well. But DJI have always wanted a slice of that market, and now I think they're aiming for it again with the Action 2. Now those of us with a long enough memory will remember the Action, the Osmo Action. Now this was actually a really good camera, and it had a front-facing screen, something DJI had not done, but of course have done since. This little guy was everything you needed in an action cam in many ways, but I guess it suffered from simple time. It didn't have the time in market. It didn't really challenge GoPro in many ways. Plus both GoPro and this action cam market were going through a bit of a phase. What do we need them for? We've got smartphones and that kind of thing. But we can't deny that, you know, GoPro Hero 10 has taken it to the next level, as has the 8 and the 9 before it, with its stabilization, its high quality video. So why does DJI want to be part of that market? And I think the answer is it's big money, but also they've got great cameras, which is why this is a fascinating little product, which I want to love, but I've had enough little quirky moments with it that it wouldn't be my daily driver. But let me show you the Action 2. So it is tiny. And for comparison, for those of you that remember the Hero 5, here it is. That's the Hero 5 Session, which was that little tiny box camera. And there's the Action 2. So the Action 2 is super narrow compared, but just ever so bigger as a front-facing cube. But a very similar camera in many ways. I think if you were to wonder what this is, you'd wonder if it was this in a new form. But it's actually very, very different. It's quite innovative. On the bottom of the Action 2, you've got these contact points, and it's also magnetic. And it's magnetic because there's a range of attachments and extras. So there's the camera, and then this one here, this little guy, is a screen. So you can have the camera and a front-facing screen. So if we turn this guy on now, you'll see that there's a front-facing screen as well as the standard screen that's behind what you're doing. So I can now, let's do this actually. I can now take a little selfie video while staring at the camera, but also just checking that I'm in frame. And one of the things I want to show you here is Rocksteady or Hyperstable or Hypersteady or something like that. But it's their version of DJI's GoPro stabilization, obviously. They want to make sure that when you're on a mountain bike or something, you're getting that stabilization. So it's controlled within the settings. You can turn it on or off. There are 3 different lens modes here, a wide, a super wide and an ultra wide, I think they call them, and it's like 155 degrees. It's a really, really wide. I'll be honest, they need a linear as well. They need one that's just a touch narrower. I put this inside a car and I demonstrated the 3 different angled lenses. Have a look at the 3 different and see if it's different enough. This is the wide. Now let's look at standard. And this is the standard view. Obviously I'm parked, so the audio is coming directly through the, I think it's a microphone on the front there of the DJI Action. So this is the ultra wide lens. There's actually not that big a difference, but it is ultra wide. So you know, we've got the Rocksteady and you can see their arms shaking like a leaf, right? But I wonder how steady that video is. But I also put it on top of my son's remote control car. Here's a look at that. Now to do that, I use the GoPro shoe mount, which I use on remote control cars to do those tests, because there is an attachment. As you can see here, I use this for in the car as well. There is an attachment here for the camera to just click into place. Okay, so the camera is now clicked into place. My problem is that what I actually ended up getting was a bit of a problem when we had a stack. And you'll see here, when I jumped that remote control car and it landed, well, the camera, she went flying. So for that reason, I didn't feel comfortable putting this on the outside of a car. Now that's super stable. It looks like it's going to hold, right? And it is. It really, really is. But it doesn't take too much to dislodge it. And I don't know how we prevent that. It's a strong magnet with 2 clips. But for some reason, the remote control car just let it fly. But fear not, there is a more robust mount. Now, interestingly, this is the waterproofing. So this is not waterproof. This is your waterproof case. You need to use one of the attachments to get it into the waterproof case. Let me get it off the old mount. And you've obviously got the screen attachment, but also this guy, which is essentially just a spare battery. So we can clip that on. We've got way more battery life. Plus, here's the thing. On board the standard Action 2, there's 25 minutes worth of recording time in 4K video. In each of these attachments, there's also an SD card slot, and it defaults to the SD card slot. So I can put this on here. I've got extra battery life. I can put it into the mount, into this waterproof housing, and I can still see through there. I've got the lens, kind of got everything I need. And I guess I could turn it around too if I wanted to, so the camera was pointing out this way and I still had my rear vision as well. But this is what I used for some off-car shots while driving around. Now, I don't use standard GoPro cameras for car reviews and things. I always use an external mic with the media mod, so you can actually put that in. But I wanted to test that as well. So here's a little bit of me talking in a car to see what the default audio is like on this device. So for me, the only other big test is audio. So this is pretty quiet in here. I've turned down the fans on the aircon. I'm not revving the engine too much. We're now in a reasonable mode. This is the kind of mode I'd use to record a car review, but I'm not using an attached microphone here. So, big question is, how does it sound? Now, all that said, there's also an app, the DJI Mimo app, which allows you to pair up, and you can do everything from live streaming to also, I believe, using that as essentially a remote mic. So there's some serious capabilities that are built into that app, and I think that's probably where the power of the device comes in. But I'm just looking at it right now as an action cam, although I'm going to take it out of this mount again because there's another very interesting approach that they've taken to accessories here. And I'll show you it here. It's this one. This little mount, this little thing is another magnetic mount. So you can see here, just clips on. All right. It's quite a strong magnet, clips on. They want you wearing this around your neck. Okay, they actually say that you can wear this kind of underneath a t-shirt and then this will clip through your shirt. It's like a policeman's body cam, that's essentially what they're suggesting here. This little mount though, it's all magnetic, so you're looking at strong magnets. You've got to have a fair bit of faith, but it's versatile. They've also got this little guy which is a remote control like selfie stick. So there's the ability here to use this as a tripod, but also it's got remote control, so you can pair it wirelessly and get it going again. And again, on top here, magnetically attached. I love the attachment. It's actually really nifty. And in everyday use, like as a tourist, shooting around, this is the approach. This is so much better than using a GoPro. I'll be honest. This is like taking, let's say, the little Osmo 2, the little handheld, but also having the capabilities of the Action camera. So it's a combination of your portable camera and your Action camera, however you choose to use it. A couple of problems. I had one situation today where I was recording and I hit stop, or I pressed the record button again because it's a single button on top. As you can see here, it's just a one button approach. And it said, write speed too slow, unable to write. And I'm like, did I just lose all that? I just lost all that? And I don't think I was using a bad memory card. I've got some pretty decent memory cards. So you're going to need to be cautious about what speed memory card you buy. But that's easily overcome because, you know, people can buy the right memory cards. The bigger problem was heat. Now, it was not a hot day today in Sydney. It was warm. But I had this outside the car, driving around 5-10 minutes, heat warning. I had this on a remote control car for less than 5 minutes and got a heat warning. It basically just said, nah, too hot, I'm out. Now there's a setting there to amp that up so essentially the threshold for heat is higher, but I would hate to see how this works on an actual warm day. In the car, same thing, because it was hot coming through the windscreen. That's a problem. I mean, it was hot to touch. I took it out of the mount and this thing was hot to touch. So that's problematic. They probably going to need to work on whether or not they can really determine what it is capable of taking, or finding more ways to do cooling. So that for me is a little bit of a challenge for it. Aside from that, I love the fact that they're approaching it with a bunch of accessories with all different mount styles. They've got their own little circular mount system, which I've struggled to understand. And I guess I'm a bit too deep in the ecosystem of the 3-prong, 2-prong interface that GoPro pioneered, and that all works. You can use all of that because, as I said, there is a mount you can get that attaches to those. I love the size of it. I love how high quality it is. We're talking 4K, I think 120 frames per second. And as I said, the different fields of view, very easy touchscreen navigation through it. And this front screen attachment is also touchscreen. So you've got full control of the device when using that front screen. Look, it's a great little product. I don't see them infringing on GoPro's market share. I see them expanding their lifestyle base. For people that use the Osmo mounts and things, will see great uses for this. You know, put it on the kid's bike, put it on a remote control car, whatever you like. You'll find a use for it. It's a very cool little product. I'll wait and see what other people find, how they love it. But for me, I love their innovation. I love the quality of it. The picture quality is outstanding. It did deal with the brightness of the sun very quickly in the kind of re-exposing of an image as I moved around. I can't really fault it broadly in its picture quality, but I do think there's some work to do on things like, you know, letting you know your memory card's not good enough from the get-go as opposed to after I've recorded something. And secondly, that heat problem. That's a bit of a worry. All cool, all awesome, and all available now from DJI online. It's the DJI Action 2, a complete different product to what was the original Osmo Action.